Hello everyone, today we are going to read another amazing Peppa Pig book. But this one is Stomp and Roar, and of course it's a noisy one, so we'll have 5 amazing sounds that we'll be going through each and every one without delay. So without wasting any more time, let's dive straight into it and make sure to watch till the end. Miss Rabbit is taking everyone on a day out. We're here, she calls, stopping the bus. Welcome to Grampy Rabbit's Dinosaur Park, booms Grampy Rabbit. Dinosaur! Roar, says George. George loves dinosaurs. But real dinosaurs died out 65 million years ago, says Edmund Elephant. Yes, so we've got singing dinosaurs, says Grampy Rabbit proudly. They're a bit small, says Peppa. Well, we've got a real whopper of a dinosaur too, adds Grampy Rabbit. Come on, let's follow its footsteps. Wow. Grampy Rabbit leads them to an enormous slide. Whee! Cries Peppa. Are you ready for even more an adventure? Grampy Rabbit asks. Yes! Everyone shouts. Now, we have to find a giant dinosaur egg, says Grampy Rabbit. Freddy Fox quickly tracks it down with his excellent sense of smell. Is it real? Asks Peppa. It's better than real. It's pretend, replies Grampy Pig. At the end of the day, Grampy Pig asks everyone to sing a special song. Copy me, he shouts. Do the stomp, do the dinosaur stomp, do the roar, do the dinosaur roar, stomp, 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 roar, roar, roar. Roar! Grampy Pig's Dinosaur Park has been the best day out ever. Another amazing book we've read today, Peppa Pig, Stomp and Roar. I'm sure you all love this book, and if you did, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and watch all our other videos. So for now, thanks for watching till the end, and we'll see you next time. Hello everyone, today we're going to read Peppa Pig, Beep Beep Brum, George's Noisy Vehicle book, with 5 amazing sounds that we will be all hearing from. And of course, this will be from your favourite character, George Pig. So let's not waste any more time and just jump straight into it. Peppa and her family are going for a picnic in the countryside. Hooray, cries Peppa. I love picnics. George loves picnics too, but he wants to stay at home and play with his toys. Cheer up, George. We'll have a lovely day, says Daddy Pig, beeping his horn. Beep, beep, giggles George. He likes that noisy red car. off they drive down the hill. But what's that noise? Is it Mr. Zebra's post van? We're stuck in a traffic jam, says Mr. Zebra. Oh dear, says Daddy Pig. This isn't a good start. Honk honk, laughed George. At last, they're on the move. But what's that noise? Is it Mr. Bull's digger? Moo! You have to wait, bellows Mr. Bull. We're digging up the road. Not another delay, cries Mummy Pig. Dig, 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 laughs George. At last, Mr. Bull is finished and off they go. But what's that noise? Is it a fire engine? You have to wait while I put out this fire, shouts Mrs. Sheep. Nee-naw, cries George, bouncing up and down on the back seat. At last, the fire is put out, and off they go. But what's that noise? Is it a train? Daddy Pig has to stop while the train whizzes past. Choo choo, laughed George. Can we go home for our picnic? Asks Peppa. What a good idea, says Mummy Pig. But George doesn't want to go home. He's loved seeing over noisy vehicles. Cheer up, George, says Peppa. You'll be able to play with all your noisy toys. And he does. Wow, what a wonderful book we have read today. I'm sure you all would have loved this book, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and check out all our other books too. So for now, see you next time, and thanks for watching till the end.
Peppa Pig, George. This is Peppa's brother, George. He loves being tickled. Come here, George, says Peppa. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Hee hee hee. Sometimes Mommy Pig measures Peppa and George. Look, George, says Daddy Pig. You are getting taller. You are still smaller than me though, says Peppa. Because he is still small, George cannot speak very well. What words do you know? Asked Peppa. Dinosaur, says George. Peppa and George have bunk beds in their bedroom. Peppa sleeps on the top bunk. George sleeps on the bottom bunk. Peppa plays with her little brother George every day. She likes looking after him. And he likes looking after her. Peppa loves George. Everyone loves George. Peppa loves playing with her little brother George. They like sharing a bedroom together. Hi children, today we are going to read the story of Prince George. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel to watch lots and lots of other videos from Peppa Pig, Hey Ducky, Bluey, Cocomelon and lots of puzzle books and little library books. You will enjoy them. Shall we read the story of Prince George now? The story of Prince George. Daddy Pig is saying good night to Peppa and George. Just one more dance, chuckles Daddy Pig. It's nearly bedtime. It is bedtime, Daddy Pig, says Mummy Pig. They are almost asleep, says Daddy Pig. Why don't I put Peppa and George to bed, says Mummy Pig. Can we have a bedtime story first, says Peppa. Okay, says Mummy Pig, but only if you promise to go straight to sleep afterwards. We promise, cries Peppa. Story, giggles George. Once upon a time, Mummy Pig begins. There was a fairy tale castle. The castle was home to a brave prince called George and a clever princess called Peppa. Prince George and Princess Peppa spent their days exploring the castle. They even had a cook who made them jellies, cookies, and fairy cakes with cherries on the top. Prince George and Princess Peppa always ate everything. When they were finished exploring and eating, Prince George and Princess Peppa summoned the royal wizard. The wizard wore a cloak covered in stars. He put on big magic shows and his tricks never went wrong, ever. Abracadabra! Everybody loved living in the fairy tale castle until one day a big scary dragon arrived. Princess Peppa squealed. Her royal friends ran as fast as their legs could carry them. Only Prince George stayed to face the dragon. Princess Peppa peered out of the castle window. The dragon was very big and scary. She hoped it wouldn't eat Prince George. Brave Prince George climbed on his horse and rode right up to the dragon. Grrr, said the dragon. Grrr, grrr, said George. Suddenly, Prince George giggled. The dragon was not scary, it was just lonely. Dinosaur, cried George. Dinosaur. Princess Peppa came out of the castle and Prince George invited the dragon to a picnic. The royal cook made a feast. The royal wizard put on a special magic show. Soon everybody in the kingdom wanted to meet the dragon. Princess Peppa and Prince George held a big party and the dragon was the guest of honor. His spines popped lots of balloons but nobody minded. Pop, pop, pop. The dragon liked the prince and the princess so much. He decided to be their royal pet. Prince George led a parade to celebrate. Everyone cheered. Hooray for the dragon! Hooray for Princess Peppa! Hooray for Prince George the Brave! Hooray! The end, cries Peppa. Dinosaur, snorts George. Daddy Pig comes in to check on them. Mummy Pig has spent so long telling the story that she has fallen asleep. Good night, Mummy Pig. Good night, Princess Peppa. Good night, Prince George. Hope you all enjoyed reading this lovely book about the story of Prince George. Peppa and George are feeling very sleepy, so Mummy Pig tells them a new bedtime story. Can Prince George the Brave save Princess Peppa and her friends from the big scary dragon? Yes, of course it was a lovely dragon, isn't it? It became a royal pet. Hope you all enjoyed reading the story with us. See you soon on another book. Please subscribe to our channel to watch more videos from Peppa Pig, Bluey, Cocomelon, lots of puzzle books. Bye.
Hello everybody, today we are going to read Peppa Pig, but today's video isn't about Peppa, it's about her little brother George. Today's video is George's racing car. I'm sure you all will love this book, so let's read to the end, shall we? Peppa, George, Daddy Pig and Grandpa Pig are watching racing cars on television. It's such a lovely day. You should go outside and play. Granny Pig says. What shall we do? Asked Daddy Pig. Brum, says George. George wants to play racing cars, cries Peppa. Let's build him one, says Grandpa Pig. He finds an old pram in his shed. Clever Grandpa Pig turns the pram into a pedal car. What's your favourite number, George? Asks Daddy Pig. Snort, snort, George replies. Daddy Pig paints a big 2 on the car's bonnet. Along come Danny Dog, Zoe Zebra and Pedro Pony. Look at George's racing car, says Peppa. We'll race you 3 times around the garden, George, they cry. Go! Peppa shouts, waving a checkered flag. Granny Pig comes outside to see what all the noise is about. Come on, George, she shouts. Meow, he says, pedaling as fast as he can. Go, George, go, snorts Peppa, Daddy Pig and Grandpa Pig. George finally takes the lead and zooms across the finish line. George is the winner, declares Grandpa Pig. Well done, George, says Peppa. You're the best racing driver in the whole world. Snort, snort, George agrees. And you've got the best chief mechanic in the whole world too, adds Daddy Pig. Yes, that's me, says Peppa, pointing to herself proudly. Ha ha, everyone laughs. That's it from today's book on not on Peppa Pig, but George Pig. George's racing car. I'm sure you all would love this book with your greatest heart. So if you did, please subscribe so you can explore so many new, different and special books all together without you missing out on a single one. So that's it from today's video. George's racing car from Peppa Pig. See you next time.
Today we are going to see George's first day at Playgroup. Today is George's first day at Playgroup. Isn't George too small for Playgroup? Asked Peppa. You can look after him, says Daddy Pig. Peppa isn't sure she wants George at her playgroup, but she likes the idea of looking after him. Are you sure George is big enough? Peppa asked when they arrive. Yes, he'll be fine, replies Daddy Pig. Okay, he can come, says Peppa. She holds on to George's hand. Grun, grun, snorts George, jumping up and down. Here is Madame Gazelle, Peppa's playgroup teacher. She looks after Peppa and her friends. Madame Gazelle tells the children that George is coming to play. The children are all very excited about meeting Peppa's little brother. This is my little brother George, cries Peppa. Grum, dinosaur, growls George. Hee hee hee, everyone laughs. I wish I had a little brother like George. Bah, Susie Sheep. George shakes his toy, Mr. Dinosaur, at Madame Gazelle. Dinosaur. Oh, really scary, laughs Madame Gazelle. Peppa is proud of George making everyone laugh. George is my little brother. He is brilliant, she says. Shall we show George how we paint pictures? Madame Gazelle asked the children. George is not very good at painting, says Peppa, but I can show him how to paint a flower. Watch me, George, snorts Peppa. First you paint a big circle. Peppa carefully dips her brush into a pot of pink paint and draws a pink big circle right in the middle of her paper. George draws a big green circle. No, George, that's the wrong color, snorts Peppa. Watch me. Peppa makes yellow petal shapes. George paints a green zigzag. George, that's the wrong shape, says Peppa. Peppa admires her flower painting. Perfect, she says happily. George is still painting. Instead of a stalk and leaves, he has painted another circle with 5 lines sticking out from it. You are doing it all wrong, says Peppa. I have painted a flower, says Peppa. Very good, Peppa, smiles Madame Gazelle. And look, George has painted a dinosaur. Madame Gazelle sticks Peppa and George's pictures on the wall.
Now it's time to go home. What will you paint next time, George? Asked Madame Gazelle. Dinosaur, giggles George. He 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 he. Everyone laughs. The end. Hi children. Today we are going to read the book George Catches a Cold. Please click the like button if you like our video and also subscribe to our channel to watch more videos from us. We have got loads of books on Peppa Pig, Cocomelon, Bluey, Hey Ducky and loads of puzzle books. You will enjoy them. Shall we read George Catches a Cold now? George catches a cold. Mommy Pig has said Peppa and George can play in the rain, but they must wear rain clothes to keep them dry. But George hates wearing his rain hat, so he has thrown it in a muddy puddle. George grunt. Come inside, children, calls Daddy Pig. It's raining very hard now. Where is your hat, George? asked Mummy Pig. Achoo! replies George. Oh dear, George has got a cold. Achoo! Achoo! George can't not stop sneezing. Poor little George, says Mummy Pig. You don't look very well. Grunt, I will call Dr. Brown Bear, says Daddy Pig. Will George go to hospital? asked Peppa. No, George has to go to bed, replies Daddy. So George is not properly ill then, says Peppa, disappointed. George, you have to stay in bed until you are better, says Daddy Pig. Why? asked George. Because you have to keep warm, says Daddy. Dr. Brown Bear is here to see George. Open wide and say, ah, he says. George is little bit worried. George is hiding his sheets with Mr. Dinosaur. George finally comes out from under his sheets and opens his mouth wide for Dr. Brown Bear to have a look inside. George has got a cold, says Dr. Brown Bear. He can have some warm milk at bedtime to help him sleep. Thank you, Dr. Brown Bear, says Mummy Pig. You are welcome. Goodbye, says Dr. Brown Bear before driving off in his special white car. The next morning, George wakes up early. The warm milk made him sleep very well. Oh, cries George. He is feeling much better. It's a lovely sunny day, but George is wearing his rain hat. He doesn't want to catch another cold. Oh, George, you don't need to wear your hat when it is warm and sunny. Mummy Pig tells him. Everyone, laughs. The end. Hope you all enjoyed reading this book, George Catches Cold. See you soon on another interesting book. Please subscribe to our channel to watch more videos from us. We have got lots of collections from Peppa Pig, Bluey, Hey Duggy and lots of puzzle pigs. You will love watching them. Bye. Today we are going to read George and the Noisy Baby from Peppa Pig collection of books. Peppa and George's family are having a sleepover at Cousin Chloe's house. Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig are looking forward to an early night. They have had a long journey. Hello, cries Cousin Chloe. Hello, shouts Auntie Pig. Hello, booms Uncle Pig. Everyone makes a lot of noise in Cousin Chloe's house. They are a very noisy family. First, we will put baby Alexander to bed, says Auntie Pig. This is his bedroom. Auntie Pig turns up baby Alexander's musical mobile. Alexander likes noise, she exclaims. It sends him to sleep. Peppa and George are staying in Cousin Chloe's bedroom. They are very excited. Night night, snorts Peppa. Soon everyone is tucked up in their beds asleep. Wow, baby Alexander is awake. Everyone is awake. Uncle Pig tries vacuuming. Vroom, vroom. Auntie Pig tries playing the trumpet. Noise is the best way to get baby Alexander to sleep, she says. Daddy Pig has a quieter day to try. When George was a baby, we used to put him in his pram and wheel him round the house. That always sent him to sleep. Daddy Pig pushes baby Alexander in his pram. He only has to go around the house 50 times. Good, he puffs at last. Baby Alexander is asleep. Daddy Pig and baby Alexander are ready to come inside. Auntie Pig switches the alarm back on. George, cries Daddy Pig, what are you doing up? Yawn, George. Noisy. Snuffle, snuffle. Daddy Pig takes George and baby Alexander back up to bed. He is about to turn the light off when... Ooh, gasps George. Baby Alexander is awake again. It is very noisy. Daddy Pig decides to drive baby Alexander around in the car. Don't forget to turn off the alarm, shouts Auntie Pig. Daddy Pig forgets to turn off the alarm. The noisy house wakes everyone up. Miss Rabbit zooms across in her rescue helicopter. Is everyone all right down there? Yells Miss Rabbit. Yes, thank you, bellows Uncle Pig. The alarm has worked. Baby Alexander is fast asleep and it's all down to my noisy daddy, giggles Peppa. The end. Hope you all enjoyed reading this book. See you on another book. Until then, bye. Please subscribe to watch more videos. Hi children, today we are going to read our 19th book from Peppa Pig collection of books. Shall we see what it is gonna be? It's George's birthday. George's birthday. It's George's birthday. Mummy Pig hands George a box wrapped in a green paper. Happy birthday, George, she says. Dinosaur! Cries George, pulling out a purple dinosaur. I knew it would be a dinosaur thingy, says Peppa. George waves the toy dinosaur at Peppa. Grrr, too scary, cries Peppa. Peppa has painted a card for George. I was going to paint a flower, says Peppa. But George does not like flowers, so in the end, I painted a dinosaur, cries George. Mummy Pig tells George that they are going somewhere very special for his birthday treat. Yippee! Shouts George. Where are we going? You will see, says Daddy Pig. George's birthday treat is a visit to the dinosaur room at the museum. George loves dinosaurs. They are his favorite thing in the whole world. Not silly old dinosaurs again, groans Peppa. George stops in front of a big green dinosaur. He is standing on a yellow cross. There is a beep and then roar! George jumps and begins to cry. Wah, wah. It's not real, George, says Mommy Pig. Don't be frightened. It's just a robot, says Daddy Pig. Grrr, shouts George at the Robo Dino. And there is another surprise, says Mommy Pig. All of Peppa and George's friends are here. Happy birthday, George, says everyone. Mummy Rabbit has made a delicious birthday cake for George. I knew it would be a dinosaur cake, says Peppa. Mummy Rabbit laughs. What an amazing guess, Peppa. It's time for one last surprise, says Daddy Pig. Can you guess what it is? Something to do with dinosaurs, says Peppa. Everybody runs outside to see. It's a bouncy castle in the shape of a dinosaur. A bouncy dinosaur. George loves bouncy dinosaurs and so does Peppa. The end. That was really a wonderful birthday treat for George, isn't it? Full of dinosaur surprises. That was really wonderful. Hope you all enjoyed having George's dinosaur birthday with us. See you soon on another book. Please subscribe to our channel to watch more videos. We will continue reading all the rest of the books from the Peppa Pig incredible collection of books. Bye. Children, today we are going to read our 27th book from the incredible Peppa Pig collection of 50 Peppa story books. Shall we see what is it gonna be? It's George's friend. Please like if you liked our video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos from our channel. George's friend. Peppa and her friends are having lots of fun at the playground today. Wee! Ha-ha! Hee hee! Grandpapa is on the roundabout with Susie Sheep and Danny Dog. George is playing in the sandpit with Mummy Pig. Squeak, squeak! Rebecca Rabbit and her little brother Richard Rabbit arrive. Richard has brought his toy dinosaur. Hello everyone, says Rebecca. Please can I play on the roundabout too? Hop on, Rebecca, says Daddy Pig. Let's go really, really fast, says Rebecca. Richard wants to go on the roundabout with his big sister. Peppa sighs. If Richard gets on, it means we can't go fast. Richard, perhaps you would like to play with George instead, says Mummy Rabbit. No, says Richard. George has a dinosaur just like yours, says Mummy Rabbit. Let's go and see. Richard is the same age as George and they both love dinosaurs. Richard wanted to see George's dinosaur, says Mummy Rabbit. Hee hee hee. Grrr, dinosaur, roars George. George and Richard both giggle. George, can Richard play with your dinosaur? Asks Mummy Pig. No, says George. Richard, can George play with your dinosaur? Asks Mummy Rabbit. No, says Richard. George and Richard do not want to share their dinosaurs. Mummy Rabbit gives both dinosaurs to George. George laughs and Richard starts to cry. Then Mummy Piggy gives both dinosaurs to Richard and Richard laughs and George starts to cry. Wah, wah. George and Richard always cry when they play together, says Peppa. Can you two big girls teach them how to play together? Asks Mummy Rabbit. Peppa and Rebecca take George and Richard to the sandpit. The girls show their brothers how to make sand castles. George uses his spade to squash Richard's sand castle. Richard cries, wah, 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 wah. Richard uses his spade to squash George's sandcastle. George cries. The game has not got very well. Again, they both are crying. Wah, wah. George, what is your favorite thing in the whole playground? Asks Mummy Pig. Seesaw, shouts George. George sits on one end of the seesaw, but it needs someone on the other end. Richard wants to play on the seesaw too. That's good. Mummy Rabbit lifts Richard onto the seesaw. George and Richard go up and down on the seesaw. George and Richard are playing together. Cheers, Peppa. Hee hee, hee hee. George likes Richard. Richard likes George. They both like playing together now. Look, everybody is happy to see them both playing together. The end. That was nice teaching of George and Richard on how to play together, isn't it? Bye-bye, children. See you soon on another video. Please subscribe to our channel to watch more videos from us.
Hello everyone. Today we are going to read Peppa Pig, George's Digger. I'm sure you all love this book. So, let's watch to the end. Let's read. George's Digger. One sunny morning, Mummy Pig took Peppa and George to the shops. Now, where shall we pop in first? Asked Mummy Pig. Toy sale, shouted Mr Fox. Discount dolls. Bargain blocks, cart price cuddlies. Peppa gasped. Mummy, can we go to the toy sale? Please. Toys, toys, cheered George. I suppose so, said Mummy Pig. It was very busy inside Mr. Fox's shop, but Peppa and George had lots of fun looking around. You can pick one thing each, said Mummy Pig, smiling, so choose carefully. Thank you, Mummy, cried Peppa, hurrying off to find a toy. But George had already spotted something special. Digger, he whispered, picking up a shiny toy digger. Excellent choice, George, said Mr. Fox. That'll be £1, please, Mummy Pig. After the shopping trip, Mummy Pig took Peppa and George to Granny and Grandpa Pig's house for the afternoon. Hello, little ones, said Grandpa Pig. Did you have a nice morning? Yes, cheered Peppa. We went to the shops and I got this. It's a crotchet set. Digger, said George, holding up his digger. Oh my, said Granny Pig. What excellent toys. While Peppa and Granny Pig played croquet, Grandpa Pig let George use the digger on his vegetable patch. First, dig a little hole in the dirt, said Grandpa Pig. Then, pop in a seed. Dig, dig, said George, using his digger to make a hole. That's perfect, George, said Grandpa Pig. Thanks to your little digger, we'll get these seeds planted in no time. When Daddy Pig arrived later to pick up Peppa and George, a very muddy surprise was waiting for him. George and his digger have been helping me in the garden, explained Grandpa Pig. I see, said Daddy Pig, laughing. Oh, it's a good job. It's bath night. At home, George took his digger into the bath and used it to scoop up all the bubbles. Then, at bedtime, he used it to tuck Mr. Dinosaur into bed. Night, night, digger, George mumbled as he drifted off to sleep. The next morning, Daddy Pig had a surprise for Peppa and George. I've been designing a new miniature golf course, he said. It's nearly ready, so I thought we'd go and see it. But George wanted to stay home and play with his digger. Daddy Pig smiled. You can bring your little digger with you, George, and there'll be a real digger at the construction site too. Digger, George cheered, hurrying off to get ready. The construction site was very busy. Mr. Bull and his crew were putting down the finishing touches in place. Down, left, right, no, other right, bellowed Mr. Bull as the crane operator set a little windmill on the course. Hello, Mr. Bull, said Daddy Pig. I've brought Peppa and George for a tour. Wonderful, said Mr. Bull. We're nearly done, so I'll show you around myself. First, Mr. Bull showed them the wrecking ball. We use this to smash, George, shouted Peppa and George. Exactly, said Mr. Bull. Knocking things down is fun. Next, they visited the cement mixer. Cement takes a little while to dry, Mr. Bull warned, but it is what makes lovely smooth paths. Then he showed them the dump truck. We use this for moving sand and gravel, he said. But George wasn't listening. He had spotted something much more exciting. Digger, George cheered, pointing. It looks just like yours, George, said Peppa. My digger is great for digging big holes, said Mr. Bull. Would you like to give it a try? Mr. Bull drove the digger but he let Peppa and George press some very important buttons. Dig, dig! George cried as he helped Mr. Bull dig in a humongous hole. We'll fill this with sand, said Mr. Bull. It will make a great bunker. By the time Peppa and George's tour was complete, a crowd had gathered for the course's grand opening. Peppa gasped. There were so many visitors. It's a good job we finished everything on time, Mr. Bull chuckled. Dad was in charge of cutting the ribbon. He grabbed a pair of scissors and cleared his throat. Right, he said. I declare this miniature golf course open. Hooray! Everyone cheered. While the visitors started their games, Mr. Bull took Peppa and George and Daddy Pig to his tent for refreshments. Would you like some tea? Asked Mr. Bull, or perhaps some cake? Mr. Bull had just finished slicing a delicious chocolate cake for everyone when Mr. Rhino appeared. Mr. Bull, Daddy Pig, panted Mr. Rhino. There's a problem with the course. Oh dear, Mr. Rhino was right. The construction crew had done an amazing job on Daddy Pig's designs, but they had forgotten something very important. There aren't any holes for the balls, cried Peppa. Ah, said Mr. Bull, scratching his head. My digger only digs very big holes. I can't fix it with that. Luckily, George had an idea. Digger! George cheered suddenly, waving his little digger in the air. Ooh, said Peppa. Clever George. She whispered George's plan to Daddy Pig and Mr. Bull, and they all squeezed into a nearby golf cart. Daddy Pig drove them around the course, and George used his little digger to dig perfect holes in all the right places. Mr. Bull inspected George's work. My digger is great for digging big holes, he said, but George's digger is perfect for digging little holes. I declare this miniature golf course open again, Daddy Pig told the crowd. Hooray! Everyone cheered. Soon everyone was having lots of fun hitting their balls over dinosaurs, through fairy tale castles, and into George's freshly dug holes. Peppa and George had a great time playing miniature golf together. Thank you for saving the day, George, said Mr. Bull. Your little digger is fantastic. Digger, cried George happily. George loves his digger. Everyone loves George's digger. Ha ha ha. And that is today's video on Peppa Pig, George's digger. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so we can explore all our amazing books together. So, see you next time, and bye for now.
Today we are going to read George's New Dinosaur from Peppa Pig collection of books. George's favorite toy is Mr. Dinosaur. George likes bouncing Mr. Dinosaur in the garden, playing with him at bath time, and he loves going to sleep with Mr. Dinosaur beside him. At bedtime, Peppa says, George, I think Mr. Dinosaur is broken. George is very upset. Mommy and Daddy Pig come in to see why George is crying. Wow! cries George. Poor George, says Daddy Pig. Maybe it's time you got a new dinosaur. The next day, Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig visit Mr. Fox's shop. I'm sure we will find a lovely dinosaur here, George, says Mummy Pig. Look, George, says Daddy Pig, pointing to the shop window. There is a big one. Ooh, dinosaur, says George. Good morning, beams Mr. Fox. Can I help you? We would like to buy the dinosaur in the window, please, says Daddy Pig. Good choice, says Mr. Fox. This is Dino-Roar. He walks, he talks and he sings. Wow! Dino-Roar, says George excitedly. We will take it, says Daddy Pig. George is playing with Dino-Roar in the garden. Dino-Roar sings. Dino-Roar, Dino-Roar. Listen to Dino-Roar. Roar. Careful, George, says Daddy Pig. Don't play too roughly because Dino-Roar will get broken. George wants to play with Dino-Roar in the bath. Splash, splash, splash. Dino-Roar, says George. But Mummy Pig says, George, if you get Dino-Roar wet, he will stop working. Peppa and George are asleep in bed. But suddenly Dino-Roar comes to life. Roar, Dino-Roar, Dino-Roar. George, says Peppa, Dino-Roar has woken me up. Maybe Dino-Roar should sleep somewhere else, says Daddy Pig, taking Dino-Roar away. George is feeling sad. He cannot play with Dino-Roar in the garden or the bath or even in bed. Never mind, George, says Mummy Pig brightly. Dino-Roar can still roar. Dino-Roar. Listen to Dino-Roar. Dino-Roar stops walking and talking completely. I think the batteries might have run out, says Mummy Pig. Already? How many are there? Grumbles Daddy Pig as batteries pour out of Dino-Roar. Hundreds and thousands, cries Peppa as she picks them. Peppa spots something green under a bush. What is this? Says Peppa. Is it a trumpet? You have found Mr. Dinosaur's tail, says Mummy Pig. Now Daddy Pig can mend him. He might be a bit difficult to mend, says Daddy Pig doubtfully. But the tail slips perfectly into place. Daddy Pig has mended Mr. Dinosaur. Ho ho ho, chuckles Daddy Pig. Hello, Mr. Dinosaur, says Peppa. Grrr, replies George. Click, hee hee hee. Everybody laughs. Dinosaur is George's favorite toy in the whole world. The end. Hope you all enjoyed reading this. We'll see you on another one. Please subscribe to watch more videos. Bye.
Today we are going to read Peppa Pig, George and the Dinosaur. What an amazing, colourful book we have here today. I'm sure you all love this book, so please stay to the end. Let's read. George and the Dinosaur. Dinosaur! Roar! Shouted George. George and his friends, Richard Rabbit and Edmund Elephant, loved dinosaurs. Wherever they went, they were always searching for fossils, stones and bones. in the sandpit, or at the playground, and even in Grandpa Pig's garden. One day, when Richard and Edmund came to play, Mummy Pig had a special surprise. "We're going on a fossil hunting adventure at the beach," she said, with Miss Rabbit, the fossil hunter. Are fossils always dinosaurs, Mummy?" asked Peppa. "They can also be the remains of plants or animals from a long, long time ago," explained Mummy Pig. The children put on their fossil hunting clothes and packed their bags with their special tools and their fact books. "Ready to go exploring?" Mummy Pig asked. "Yes!" cheered Peppa, George and George's friends, jumping up and down. The brave explorers set off to meet Miss Rabbit at the beach. "The tide was high last night," said Miss Rabbit when we arrived. "Hopefully there'll be lots of wonderful things whipped up by the waves for us to discover." "Yippee!" cheered the children. "But if not, you can always buy fossils from my shop at the end," Miss Rabbit continued. "There's an offer on today, 2 for the price of 1. Miss Rabbit took out her fossil collection to show to the children. "This swirly rock is an ammonite, and these shiny rocks are called fool's gold." Miss Rabbit held up some little rocks with gold bits inside them. "Ooh, gold!" gasped Peppa. "I love hunting for treasure." "Unfortunately, it's not real gold, Peppa," explained Miss Rabbit, "but it's lovely and shiny." "I think this one is belemnite," said Edmund, looking at Miss Rabbit's fossils. "It's an extinct mollusk, and I believe that one is fossilized poo." "Ugh, poo!" snorted the children. "Ha ha ha." "Don't worry," said Edmund. "The poo is millions of years old." Edmund Elephant was very clever. "Wow," said Miss Rabbit. "You really know your stuff, Edmund." George pulled out a dinosaur book from his bag. "Dinosaur, roar," he asked, showing Miss Rabbit a picture of a dinosaur. "No one has ever found a complete dinosaur skeleton on this beach, I'm afraid, George," said Miss Rabbit. "But you might find some little fossils like the one in my collection." Then Miss Rabbit turned to them all and said, "Now, shall we get started?" Peppa walked along the beach looking at the ground, but she soon gave up. "I can't see anything, Mummy," she said. "Just lots and lots of sand and stones. I'm going to build a sandcastle instead." Meanwhile, George, Edmund and Richard explored the beach together. They took their fossil hunting mission very seriously. After Peppa had finished her sandcastle, she peered over at George. "Look, Mummy," she called. "George has found something." Mummy Pig and Miss Rabbit looked over at George. Their mouths dropped open. The explorers were pointing at a huge rock further down the beach. "Oh dear, Mummy Pig," sighed Miss Rabbit. "It looks like you're bringing the whole beach home with you." "Hello, George," said Mummy Pig. "What do we have here then?" Dinosaur, said George, holding his arms out as wide as they could go. Big dinosaur. We believe this rock contains the complete skeleton of a dinosaur, explained Edmund. George found footprints in the rocks near it, which have a clear sign. Can you help us crack it open, please? Are you sure it's not just a big rock? Mummy Pig asked. But then Miss Rabbit took a closer look at it and pulled out her phone. Yes, that's right, very big, she said into the phone. Please come immediately. Soon after, Miss Rabbit arrived in a big truck with a team of helpers. Very carefully, they lifted the rock onto the truck. We'll meet you at the museum, Mr. Rabbit called at us as they drove. At the museum, everyone watched excitedly as Mr. Rabbit and his team cracked open the rock. Everyone gasped. Miss Rabbit was the first to speak. What we have here is a complete skeleton of a dinosaur, interrupted George. That's correct. It is a dinosaur. In fact, it's a triceratops, confirmed Miss Rabbit. George, you are an expert fossil hunter, aren't you? This is an amazing dinosaur discovery. Wow, everyone cried, looking at the skeleton. Even Peppa was impressed. Now, said Mr. Rabbit, what shall we call this incredible dinosaur? George saw us the first, cried Peppa, because George saw the dinosaur first. Roar, cheered George. Everyone laughed. In that case, I officially name this dinosaur the George-O-Saurocoptus Roar, announced Mr. Rabbit. A big dinosaur like this needs a big name like that. Everyone loves fossil hunting and dinosaurs, especially George, the dinosaur expert. And that's it from today's wonderful video, George and the Dinosaur, a Peppa Pig book. If you enjoyed this book, which I'm sure you all did, please subscribe so you can explore all the other books together. For now, see you next time. Goodbye.
We are going to read George's Potty. Peppa and Susie Sheep are having a tea party at Peppa's house. Would Teddy like some tea? asked Susie. Suddenly, sniff, sniff. Oh, says Susie. What's that smell? Poo, poo, says George. Mummy calls Peppa. George needs the potty. It's a little late for that, says Mummy Pig, sniffing. Let's get you cleaned up, George. Yay, cries George. Mummy says, Peppa, why can't George use the toilet like I do? He's a bit little for that, replies Mummy Pig. First, he needs to learn how to use the potty. I used to sit on the potty like this, George, says Peppa, using Teddy to show him. George, next time you need to go, call the magic word, potty, says Mummy Pig. Potty, says George. Hey, cheer Peppa and Susie. Peppa, Susie, and George are pretending to be giants. Fee, fo, foam, cries Peppa. I smell the smell of your fresh George. He, says George, hurrying to hide. Peppa soon finds George's hiding place. Got you, she says. Wee, says George, giggling. Daddy, calls Peppa. George needs the potty. Remember, George, says Daddy Pig, when you need to poo-poo or wee-wee, just say potty. Peppa starts to sing. The magic word is potty. So when you go to go, call out for your potty. The magic word is potty. Potty. George calls. Well done, George, says Peppa. Just like that. Potty, George cries again. Potty. Oh, says Daddy Pig, chuckling. I think George actually wants his potty. Yay! Now George is almost grown up, says Peppa. Just like me. Everyone, cheers! Hooray! Everyone loves learning to use the potty. Everyone loves learning to use the potty. George loves learning to use the potty. It ends. Hope you like watching this video. Please subscribe to watch more videos. Today we are going to read Stars from Peppa Pig collection of books. Keep watching it till the end and see what the surprise comes. It is almost time for bed. Mommy Pig, Daddy Pig and Peppa are having mugs of hot milk. Snort, snort, George comes running wearing his spacesuit. George, why are you in spacesuit? Asks Daddy. You should be in your pajamas. He. Snort, snort. George loves everything to do with space. Clunk, clunk. Oh dear, George is trying to drink through his helmet. George, take your space helmet off to drink your milk, says Peppa. Peppa takes George's helmet off. Slap, slap, brr. That's better. It's bedtime, little ones, calls Daddy Pig. Peppa and George are tucked up in bed. George likes to listen to his space mobile. Not space again, says Peppa. It's boring. Space isn't boring, Peppa. It's full of wonderful stars, smiles Daddy Pig. Snort. I can't see anything, says Peppa, looking out of the bedroom window. It's easier to see the stars outside, explains Daddy Pig. If you could put your coats on, we could go and see. That one is the North Star, says Daddy Pig. Peppa sings a star song. North Star, are you near or are you far? Can we get there in the car? The stars are too far to get by car. But they look closer through a telescope, replies Daddy. Grandpa Pig has a telescope, says Mommy Pig. It's late, but we can drive to his house just this once. Peppa and George have arrived at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house. Mommy Pig rings the doorbell. Ding dong. What are you doing here? Asked Grandpa. Could we take a look through your telescope, please? Asked Mummy Pig. Very well, replies Grandpa. To the top of the house we go. Grandpa Pig's hobby is looking at the stars. Snort. How? Here she is. Old Bess, says Grandpa Pig. Wow, gasped Peppa, seeing the telescope. Who is for the first look? Asked Grandpa. Me, shouts Peppa. It is the North Star, cries Peppa. We sailors use that star to find our way home, explains Grandpa Pig. Daddy used it to find his way here, Peppa adds, smiling. Now it's George's turn to look through the telescope. He can see a planet with rings. Snort! What else is in the sky? Asked Peppa. George can see the planet Saturn, says Grandpa. What is Saturn like? Cries Peppa. Saturn has rings made of rock and ice and it is very, very cold, says Grandpa Pig. We could build a snowman, cries Peppa. Quick, look, Peppa, gasped Grandpa. It's a shooting star. You have to make a wish. I wish that when George is old enough to have his own rocket that he will take me into space, cheers Peppa happily. Snort, snort, grunts George. Ha ha, snort. Everyone laughs. The end. This was really an interesting one, isn't it? Hope you all enjoyed watching this book. We'll see you on another one. Please subscribe to watch more and more videos. Bye bye. Hi children. Today we are going to read Peppa in Space from Peppa Pig collection of books. Peppa in Space. It was Space Day at Playgroup. Peppa and her friends were very excited. Does anyone know what space is? Asked Madame Gazelle. Space is the physical universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere, said Edmund Elephant. Edmund was a bit of a clever clogs. That's right, Edmund, said Madame Gazelle. And today we are going to talk about something you find in space. The moon, shouted all the children. Yes, said Madame Gazelle. Can I live on the moon? Asked Johnny Dog. It is possible, replied Madame Gazelle, but you will need to take oxygen, water, and lots of other things with you. Can you jump in muddy puddles on the moon? Asked Peppa. No, said Madame Gazelle. There is no rain to make puddles. What can you do on the moon then? Asked Peppa. You will soon find out, said Madame Gazelle. Because today we are going to the moon, shouted Petro Pony. Not exactly, said Madame Gazelle. We are going to the Space Museum. Ooh, sighed the children. At the museum, you will train to be astronauts, said Madame Gazelle, and see what it is like to walk on the moon. Wow! gasped the children. Miss Rabbit arrived to take everyone to the Space Museum. Really, we should be going there in a moon buggy, said Danny, not on a bus. How long until we get there? Asked Peppa. As long as it takes you to finish your apple, replied Miss Rabbit. I have finished my apple, said Susie Sheep. Does that mean we are there? How about we sing a song for Miss Rabbit? Suggested Madame Gazelle. Something like... But before Madame Gazelle could finish, all the children started to sing. Zoom, zoom, zoom. We are going to the moon. Will we get there soon? And they sang it to Miss Rabbit all the way to the museum. When they arrived at the museum, the children were met by a real astronaut, Grumpy Rabbit. Hello there, fellow astronauts, he boomed. Our space training mission today will take us to the moon. The ride may be bumpy, but it will be worth it when you get to see what it is like to walk on the moon. Hooray! Cheered the children. The children put on their special space suits and boots as quickly as they could. It's time to hop on board our spacecraft, called Grumpy Rabbit when they were ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Cheered all the little astronauts together. Grumpy Rabbit and the children zoomed off on their training mission. On the way to the moon, Grumpy Rabbit told the children all about the different planets in the solar system. There is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and the dwarf planet Pluto, he said. Robots have landed on Mars, but no one else has done so yet. George was listening very carefully. Mars, he whispered to himself. Bump! We have landed on the moon, said Grumpy Rabbit. Now, my little astronauts, it's time for you to see what it is like to walk on the moon. Just take one small step out of the spacecraft and 1. Peppa and her friends all took giant leaps out of the spacecraft wearing Grumpy Rabbit's anti-gravity rubber bands. Whee! The children had so much fun bouncing up and down with the anti-gravity rubber bands. They sang a song over and over and again. Listen to our space toot-toot-toot-toot-toot. We are walking on the moon. Boing, boing, boing. Wow, gasped Peppa, bouncing over Madame Gazelle's head. Walking on the moon is great, but jumping up and down on it is even better. It's time to get back down to earth now, children, called the Grumpy Rabbit. Oh, sighed the children. When they arrived back on earth, the children were sad. Remember, children, your adventure is not really over, said Grumpy Rabbit. It's just beginning. If you keep training, you all can be real astronauts like me one day. Hey! We are going to the moon, sang the children. And they sang it on the bus all the way to the playgroup. Space is amazing, Daddy, said Peppa on that night. I want to be an astronaut so I can jump up and down on the moon every day. But George had set his sights on somewhere else. Mars, he whispered. Ah, said Daddy Pig. Are you going to be the first piggy on Mars, George? George nodded his head and smiled. That night, George dreamed he had gone into space with Peppa, and they were the first little piggies ever to jump up and down on Mars. Boing, boing. That's the end. It is the Space Day at Playgroup. Peppa and George are going on a trip to the Space Museum. There is so much to learn about being an astronaut and walking on the moon. Hope you all enjoyed reading this book with us. See you soon on another one. Until then, bye. Please subscribe to our channel to watch more videos from us. Today we are going to read George's Balloon from Peppa Pig collection of books. Let's start watching. Peppa and George are driving home with Granny and Grandpa Pig when they see Miss Rabbit's ice cream stall. Let's stop for ice cream, says Granny Pig. Why not? Says Grandpa Pig. I think we deserve it. Snort. Peppa, Granny and Grandpa Pig choose their ice cream. George is next. Dinosaur, says George. Dinosaur. I think George wants a dinosaur balloon, says Miss Rabbit. All right, how much is it? Grandpa Pig asks. 10 pounds, please, says Miss Rabbit. Grandpa Pig thinks the balloon is a bit expensive, but he buys it for George. Hold on tight to it, Miss Rabbit says. But George lets go and the balloon starts to float away. Grandpa Pig quickly grabs the string. This is very valuable, George. I will hold it on the way home, says Grandpa Pig. Outside Granny and Grandpa Pig's house, George plays with his balloon. George, says Peppa, this is an up balloon, and if you let it go again, it will go up to the moon. Moon? Cries George, and he lets the balloon go. The balloon goes up and up, but Grandpa Pig catches it just in time. Peppa and George have gone indoors to keep the balloon safe. Hello, Polly, says Peppa. George has got a new balloon. Squawk, squawk, cries Polly. Balloon. Both Polly and George love the balloon. Oh no! George cries, letting go of the balloon. The balloon floats all the way out of the door, up the stairs and into the attic. Don't worry, it's safe in here, says Peppa. Don't worry, says Granny Pig as they follow the balloon up the ladder. The only way out of the attic is the window, and the window is always shut. But the window is not shut. The balloon escapes outside. Your balloon is going to the moon, George, says Peppa. Wow, cries George. Just then Daddy Pig arrives to take them home. Oh dear, says Daddy Pig. Squawk, balloon. There must be some way we can get the balloon back, cries Granny Pig. Squawk, balloon, says Polly Parrot. Polly flies high up into the sky and catches the balloon string in her beak. Polly to the rescue, cries Grandpa Pig. Polly Parrot has saved the day. Hooray! George cheers. Who is the clever Polly? Says Granny Pig. Who is the clever Polly? Repeats Polly Parrot. George is very happy. He loves his balloon. Everyone loves George's balloon. Snort, snort. The end. Hope you all enjoyed watching this book reading. Please subscribe to watch more and more lovely videos. We'll see you on next one. Bye.